That's how he started off. With a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and this is the show. It's Wednesday, of course, so that's a good thing. Hi, Deborah Neighbors. Good to see you. Wow, everything just flew. Okay, I'm trying to keep up here. Good to see all of you guys. I got Barbara and Taipan and myself and HB Girl to you over in the big green robo machine. Then I got Gypsies over there in Twitch. And all of you guys are here over in YouTube. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in. Got Kitty Caddywhack, Eric Fry, Aggravated Progressive. Man, they're flying. Owl, how you doing, Owl? Good to see ya. Good to see ya. I assume that's Grumpy Owl. I guess you're no longer grumpy. That's good. Maggie M10's in here. John Stevenson. Rachel gets it right. Just scrolling through as I look. Isaac's here. How you doing, Isaac? You and Kirsten, I'm sure, here as well. Annie Manula's here. Rachel or John Stevenson. Did I say John Stevenson or John Temperance? I don't remember. Anyway, the John is here. That John is here. Sorry, John. I'm an idiot. I'm saying a lot, but it's because I'm trying to see who's here. I think I got most everybody so far. I'm still scrolling. Flyer Tuck. Good to see you, Flyer Tuck. Excellent to have you in the house. Marstall's in here. Good to see you, Marstall. I said that time instead of so I'm mixing it up a little bit to give you a little auditory variety. So it's great to see you all. Thank you so much for being here in the show as so far as it's going. I'm sure many, many more will come in because the lights are on and you guys are amazing. I just turn on the lights and it just boom, family time. So hope everything is wonderful in your world. Happy Wednesday. It's just me here. Don sends his regrets. He couldn't be here, but things are going much better as far as his personal situation is concerned, and looking pretty optimistic, actually. So that's very cool. And so that's wonderful. I'll continue to send your prayers and love, of course, as we encourage things to get better and better and better. So let's see. Wow. I'm kind of out of my element here a little bit. It's weird because I just do these shows. I just get done on Saturday. I have a few days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then it's showtime again. So it's only 3 days, but you'd swear. Sometimes I feel like it's been a month. Like, am I forgetting something? And I don't think I am. I think I got everything on that needs to be on and lit up, and all of the buttons are pushed. Even the ghost radar, remember to turn that on tonight, so that's good. So, yeah, it's all of a sudden. Oh, Isaac got a big moi. That's good. Love is in the air. Thank you very much. All right. We got a lot to get to tonight, as always, but it's just me and you guys. So you guys are my co-host tonight. So any questions, comments, or input that you want to give me, put it in the chat in big capital letters as much as you can. I'll watch for it. During the news, it's kind of hard because everything is full of news articles that I got to drag and place and stuff and then read. And so I may not see during that segment as well. But after that, I do try to keep an eye on the chats. So if you guys want to participate or you want me to be aware of something, I will do my best to keep an eye on it. Odds if you could help if someone's trying to get my attention, I'd appreciate that. We have the most amazing mods in all of YouTube's right here on the show. And, of course, over in the other platforms as well. So I can't complain. Smoking Guns came in. Good to see ya. And, of course, Kirsten, who's just throwing buckets of love around, at least directionally. But I just want you to know I love you all, and a big moi to everybody. Let's see. What am I missing? Okay. Yeah, it's good to see everybody. Thank you all for coming in. We're going to get to the news here momentarily, and we'll find out just what I've curated for your interest and benefit. And hopefully you'll find it interesting and beneficial if I've done my job. If not, hold tight, because it's only about a 20-minute segment. So it's not real long if you're kind of like, oh, man, when's this part over? I just had somebody commented on, I guess it could be a Cheap Seats comment, but it was over on BitChute, and one of the episodes, BitChute just basically gets a mirror upload from YouTube, and one of the episodes up there, I didn't even really pay attention to which one, but somebody left a comment, so I'm like, oh, what's that? Because I don't get a lot of comments over on BitChute at all. So I went to check it out, and it was one big long word, boring. So I think it's kind of tricky for people that aren't used to the show, aren't used to the format. We do things pretty uniquely here on the portal. This is generally a community show. It's largely, most of you guys I've known for years or at least many months, and we have this cool connection and bond, and that's really who I'm doing the shows for, is for you guys that come in here and are part of the family, and we just have fun. And hi, Mr. Fleshrot, good to see you. And others, happy hump day. You got it. Thank you. But, for other people, and he says, bitch tube. It seems like it. That person was not amused with our format, but I think what we do is wonderful. And it may not appeal to everybody, and that's okay, because I don't personally want to appeal to a bunch of dicks, I want to appeal to people that's, are looking to become part of the family. That to me is the attraction. And it's something that I can't take a lot of credit for, because I've just been doing these shows and you guys just show up. So it's all you guys. You guys have made this home. And as such, I tailor to these shows to you guys, the regulars, not to mass appeal. I mean, if I was going for mass appeal, I would just keep everything right to the point and try to be a little, it would just be much more clinical and mechanical if I was trying to, appeal to clicks and views exclusively. Now, I don't even know how to do a show that way, to be honest with you. Even the podcasts, I just have discussions with people. And that's, to me, the cool part, is just to dig into what they've seen, what they think of what they've seen, to get as much explanation out of it as we can, and try to understand the phenomena. Much the same with the YouTube shows. I mean, we're always looking into what's going on here, and that's why we have segments like the question of the week, where you guys get to sound off on your thoughts. Those things are awesome, So anyway, but you guys don't want to attract the aubergines. What's an aubergine? I don't even know, Maggie. Eggplants? Is an aubergine the same thing as an eggplant? I don't know. I'm probably pronouncing that terribly anyway. So, but yeah, these shows are for you guys, the people that have made this your home. So if you're new and you're like, what the hell's going on? Maybe it's not for you. Keep clicking. There's other shows out there, thousands of them, that I'm sure will get right to the point and entertain the hell out of you. And maybe this isn't it. So anyway. All right. Bitch too. Bitch shoot, I guess, because it was bit shoot. So is it bitch shoot? That's cracking me up. You guys are funny. All right. So anyway, I guess we should get to the news and find out what's going on, lovey. Let's find out what's going on in the news, and hopefully I've, excuse your language, I don't want to be a dick. It's okay, Barbie. You're never a dick. You're a wonderful person. I think I need a sign like that back here. Yeah. I'm still laughing at bitch tube. Yeah, that's pretty funny. You guys are awesome. It's no wonder I love coming here and doing these shows. You guys make me feel just happy inside. In light of the world and life, it just gets really heavy, but it's like at the Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays, I can go right here, turn it on, and just have fun with you guys. So thank you. All right. Well, Kirsten's ready for the news. So without further delay, let's get to the news. Flyer Talk, you brought it up. Just thought I'd sing it to you. It's the only news John Stevenson trusts. You have impeccable taste, sir. All right, welcome to the news, and I'll do my best to bring you through the news and maybe learn you something new. We'll do some ciphering here and then, just hang out by the cement pond or swimming pool. You know, Beverly Hillbillies, I'm really dating myself now. I think that show was probably a little before me, actually, but it was syndicated forever when I was a kid, so I'd watch the Beverly Hillbillies. So, anyway, I don't know that you needed to know that, but now you know. All right, so the first article up tonight is coming from an amazing site, one that I love just splendidly. I don't know why I'm doing Thurston Howell all night, but that just seems to be the flavor of the day. This is an amazing site, and throughout the course of the show, we use a lot of different sites, and again, I just have to ask you guys to please support these sites. Please give them traffic, visit them, check out the myriad of other articles and things that they have available on their sites, because there is so much incredible information that I could never touch on. And if I did shows every night of the week, which I've done before, for 2 years, I did 10 shows a week. It was like, not YouTube. I did 7 YouTube shows and 3 podcasts a week in the first season of the Paranormal Portal podcast. It was nuts. But anyway, please visit these sites. Please give them some love and support and help them to keep the lights on, because we want to encourage you guys to do that. We, as in me and my many personalities. So the first one up is kind of interesting. This is coming from an amazing site called unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one is I don't know, it's kind of a stigmata kind of thing, right? Yeah, I mean, this is not the actual, like the movie Stigmata. If you remember the beginning of the movie, you'll know what I mean. But it's oftentimes cited as possibly a sign of an incredible miracle in Catholicism throughout the history of Catholicism. And so, what is this, you might ask? Well, let me show you. Because according to unexplained-mysteries.com, in the spirituality segments, Virgin Mary statue cries tears of blood at church in Mexico. Ooh, that's I don't know. That's kind of a creepy. If that's a divine sign, that's kind of a creepy one. Tears, okay. Tears of blood, not so okay. All right. The phenomena has been hailed as a miracle, prompting an investigation by church officials. According to reports, the statue, which is located at a family-owned church in Morelia in the state of Michoacan, I don't know. I'm just throwing a ball at that one. I don't know. Began to cry what looked like tears of blood back in June 2nd. The statue depicts Our Lady of Guadalupe, one of the 5 apparitions of Mary dating back to the 1500s. Unsurprisingly, the alleged miracle quickly attracted a great deal of attention and saw crowds of people flock to the church for the opportunity to see the statue for themselves. I felt a sensation that I haven't felt before, like a joy, but also a real sadness, because she's telling us what will happen. Only she knows. What will happen, only she knows. It is a miracle, and hopefully it is a miracle that is good for everyone. Yeah, I agree. One of the locals was quoted as saying, "Church officials are now conducting an investigation into the phenomena. It is necessary to highlight the need for caution when approaching an issue as delicate as that of an alleged miracle," the Archdiocese of Morelia said in a statement. "We're taking the necessary measures to investigate the situation in a deep and exhaustive manner. Therefore, it is too early to issue a definitive position on the matter. It will be an ecclesiastical hierarchy itself that confirms the team that will carry out the detailed study of the case. So, as soon as there is any relevant report or conclusion, it will be made public knowledge." Well, here's a video. This is coming from Canal 13, Michoacan. I'm lost on the pronunciation here. So let's just watch it. I know I don't speak Spanish, so I'm just going to see if we can look at what the miracle itself is. There's the, let me just make sure it's viewable. Yeah, you guys can see that. Okay. Any close-ups here? Come on. Come on, news people. Let's get to the close-ups. Maybe it's in...
Se dio cuenta del
Nope, that's Spanish. I have no idea what that's saying. Let's continue. I mean, I know like how to order beer, and that's about it in Spanish. And it was something I learned as a teenager, and I didn't really drink beer. So go figure. But I got it in my pocket if I should ever need it. There it is. Look at that. Yeah. There's little trails of blood coming from the eyes, or what appears to be. Sometimes the explanations of these phenomena are pretty bizarre. Is there any better close-ups? Can we just get like a really close-up, or is that as much as they're going to give us? I guess they were not very interested in drilling into the media of it. Okay, so there's a bunch of people taking pictures, but I want to go here. Let's go back to here. Where was that actual image of the tears of blood? There's a lot of talking going on. There's a lot of talking none of us will understand. So where's the tears of blood? Is that it? Yeah, I guess so. That's about the best shot we got, folks. I don't know. I mean, could it be a sign? Sure, it could be. I don't know. That's pretty amazing. It could be amazing. Could be something much more mundane, or it could be an absolute hoax. Just people trying to drum up faith. Now, the interesting thing is it's a family-owned church, which I don't know how that works. Generally, with any Catholic diocese, unless this is some kind of offshoot from the Roman Catholic Church, but which is probably not uncommon in Hispanic countries. But, you know, is it make it more hoax prone? Maybe. I don't know if they're trying to drum up interest in their church and get people showing up and giving donations. Unfortunately, that's the dark side of some religion, you know. It's a quick way to fundraise, maybe, you know, just, hey, let's put some tear ducts in there and pump out some ketchup and see if we can raise the bottom line here. We got to pay the rent. I don't know. I'm not meaning to be creepy about it, but at the same time, it's certainly been done before and it'll be done again. So is this a genuine phenomena or a hoax? I mean, we can't tell. We got like literally seconds of images to work with here, or footage. There it is. That's like all we can really see is this one panning shot, nothing close up. And as far as we know, no actual investigation has been happening because they're picking the team at this point. So it might be done by the time they pick the team. My opinion would be possible the materials it's made of could occasionally leak red stuff like red clay or something. That's the skeptic in me. Well, you know, and those are valid questions. I mean, we know absolutely nothing other than it's depicting the Lady of Guadalupe, which is a vision of Mary, and it's allegedly, you know, pouring some red stuff out of its eyes. I don't know. Very weird, but kind of wild. It's got to be type ooh blood instead of type O. Is that O or ooh? I don't know. Probably O. Okay. Iron, perhaps. Well, it could be. I mean, there's been some tears of blood from statues that have been blamed on a specific kind of fungus that might be, you know, in humidity, might be coalescing around the eyes due to the temperature variations of the statue and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. If it gives people a sense of faith, fine, you know, whatever. If it's genuine, fantastic. That's wonderful too. I mean, I really don't have a horse in the game. I think that the divine is always active, and I just saw this really cool video and I shared it out a couple times. You know what? I might just share it now because it's presented in a very Christian tone, which is fine. I mean, I think all religions can be beautiful and are beautiful because there are attempts to understand the divine. But let me see if I can pull this up. It was just an amazing video, and I was like, wow, yeah, it's just a heartbeat away. Let me pull this up, and then I got to mute it right away. Okay, hold on. Let me do this. Okay, wait. I'm going to have to let it roll and then bring it back again because I can't quite pause it when it's in effect. But this is, today seems to be a divine kind of day in that regard. And it's interesting because, I think that the divine is always listening, and I don't really care what title you give it. God is the most easy and seemingly universal, but many religions have different names for the divine presence, and that's fine. But I think that we are always surrounded by the divine. And, I know that many people pray and wonder, is God listening? And I thought this was a neat statement to that effect. Let me put it up here for a sec. Hold on. I shared this out to a few close friends and thought it was kind of beautiful, but since you are all close friends of mine, I'll share it to you because I think it's pretty cool. Now, this guy is out hunting. I don't know where he is, actually. I'm not sure what part of the country, and it's probably not important. But let me frame this up and see if it's going to show up pretty good here. Yeah, that can move it over a little bit. All right, let me do this. All right, here's the video. All right, starts out today. All right, here we go.
Come up on this old lake way back in the woods, and I saw an eagle all the way across it. See the lake, and I said, Lord, I sure would like to get close to that eagle, because sometimes I feel like you don't always hear me, but if you hear me today, let me get close. I had a bald eagle land on my shoulder.
What?
Out here hunting. I don't think you can get no closer than that right there. At all.
Isn't that amazing? So the guy's like, oh, Lord, if you're hearing me, I'm not really sure you're hearing me. Let me get close to that eagle. And the eagle comes in and lands on his shoulder. It's like, oh, I guess you're paying attention. I just think that's kind of a beautiful thing because I know that's, life gets heavy. Life gets heavy and dark and in light of today's world. That's the kind of stuff we need a lot more of. And I'm not saying it has to be a religious tone or one religion over another. I'm saying just bring the beauty back into the world. Quit with all the fear and hate and suspicion and conflict. Let's focus on stuff like that. That's what I think is important. So anyway, Eliza Rose, how are you? Good to see you. It's been ages. It has been ages. Where have you been? Well, it's good to have you back. Where have you been? So anyway, I wanted to share that with you because I thought, wow, what a beautiful statement. What a beautiful statement that is. And it's just, the more of that, the better. So what about the crying statue? I hope it's real. I really do. I really don't like the idea that people could be, throwing shenanigans at people. I think that is so harmful to people's faith because nobody wants to be the sucker. Nobody wants to be the person that got taken advantage of. And it becomes a con job then, and that can trash people's faith. And I don't think that that's a good thing at all. So anyway, is that part of the news? No, but kinda. It does have to deal with, divine moments. So I hope you guys don't mind that I shared that. Life happens. It does happen. You're right, Eliza. It does. So, but it's good to see you here. That's all that matters. Welcome back. We've been waiting. So Wizard Moon is here. Good to see you, Wizard. So Much Jake is here from Blue Line Bigfoot. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for stopping in. So anyway, that's the moment of faith for tonight. I don't know. Take it or leave it. Take from it what you will. But maybe. I miss you too. Thank you, Eliza. I happen to be able to watch the chat because I queued up that other video instead. I just thought that was so funny. It's like, oh, Lord, there's an eagle. If you're hearing me, let me get close to that eagle. I just, because sometimes I feel like you're not listening. And then the eagle lands on his shoulder. It's like, at that point, yeah. I mean, you got to just bow your head and say, all right, I got it. I'm an idiot. I didn't realize how much you're paying attention. That's pretty cool. Love you too, Bake. If I'm Trent, you're Bake. I don't know. That's all that came to my mind. We're going to name call. That's what I got. I didn't have time to think about it. All right. Hey, beautiful people, says Dylan. Good to see you, Dylan. Thanks for stopping in. Wonderful to see you. I appreciate you checking out the show. All right. So let's get to the next article here on the news. And this one's bizarre. Now, here's the thing. And I don't know why. I have no idea why. Because, I mean, why is there such such angst and I don't know, ill will towards Taylor Swift? I don't understand that. I mean, she's an entertainer. She's doing her job. She's writing music about a lot of relationships, and it's whatever. I mean, in her position in life, I'm sure it's probably hard to find sincere people, and maybe that's why she's got a bunch of broken relationships, whatever. But anyway, she takes a lot of heat. This is a weird story that's marginally involved with Taylor Swift, but more just by the setting than anything. What the hell was going on here? Well, I don't know, but it's a modern mystery according to Unexplained-Mysteries. And the story is, all right, mysterious figure filmed in the stadium rafters at Taylor Swift concert. There's the mysterious figure. Wow. That dude's right up there. Looks like he's got his hands in his pockets, so I guess he's enjoying the view. I don't know. Wonder what you can see from up there. But anyway, let's check it out. The clip, which shows a silhouette of a single person high above the venue, has gone viral on social media. Everyone seems to be going Taylor Swift mad in recent months, thanks to the phenomenally successful Singer's Eras Tour that has been selling out stadiums around the world. But it wasn't Taylor herself that was the focus of one particular, well, it's peculiar too, I guess, viral clip that is recently recorded at one of her concerts in Madrid, Spain, before being uploaded onto social media. In the footage, the camera zooms in on a solitary figure who is silhouetted against the bright sunlight shining in through the rafters of the stadium. The mysterious individual who stands there gently swaying back and forth to the music is completely alone while perched high atop the building. The clip went on to generate a great deal of speculation over who the mystery person could be and how they managed to get up to what is seemingly an otherwise inaccessible part of the stadium. Some users suggested it was a member of the crew or security services, while others believed that an overexuberant fan had somehow managed to climb up there. There are even some who suggest that the mystery figure might have been part of the show itself. There is thought to be a skywalk at the top of the stadium, but it's not yet open to the public. Yeah, obviously they're not going to open that to the public. Yeah, that would be a really bad idea. Whoever the mystery person is, perhaps Taylor will write a song about them in her next album. Bump, and there's a video. Here, let's check out the video. How do I mute this? I can't mute it. Okay, well, there's the figure. That's enough of it. I can't play the music, obviously. I don't know if it's clear enough to actually come through and give me copyright issues, but I'm not going to roll any dice on that. So interesting. So there's a picture of the guy, somebody just hanging out, enjoying the show. I mean, at least he wasn't like a sniper or something. Jesus. He's just up there swaying to the music. All right. Fair play. I'm sure, if they figure out who he is, he's in a bucket load of trouble. But, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of neat. Whatever. No harm, no foul. Just enjoying the show. Which I hope all of you are as well. Let's get to the next article. This will be our last one for the night here on the news. And this is an article from, you guessed it, unexplained-mystery.com. Here we go. There's the space and astronomy. I don't know. This one's not too long. No, it's not too bad. From space and astronomy on unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is mysterious hole on Mars could lead to labyrinth of underground caves. There's the mysterious Mars hole. Why don't you shut your Mars hole? I don't even know what that means. It sounded funny in my head before I said it. Scientists have suggested that subterranean lava tubes on Mars could be home to primitive alien life forms. No, they're not talking about a Stone Age culture. They're talking about bacterium or germs or things like that. Paramecium, maybe. Exploring the depths of an undocumented cave system could be a daunting prospect at the best of times, but imagine being one of the first people to venture deep into a labyrinth of caverns stretching for countless miles beneath the surface of another planet. Yeah, no, I'll wait till the drone does it or something instead. Scientists have long speculated that Mars is home to a network of dormant subterranean lava tubes that could provide a safe haven for primitive alien life. As well as a potential place to build a human base or colony in the not too distant future. I just can't imagine being one of the first people like, I'll go. It's like, hell no. I'll wait till they've got that all worked out. Recently, the University of Arizona highlighted one particular image captured back in 2022 by the HiRISE camera aboard the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. It shows an ominous-looking hole on the Martian surface, measuring around 150 feet in diameter. It's believed that this opening leads down to the lava tube that might itself be linked to a vast subterranean network of such tunnels. A place ripe for exploration. It's difficult, however, to know exactly how far down the hole goes. There's more than one of these pits on Mars that we've seen, geophysicist Brandon Johnson told Business Insider, but they're really interesting because they're places where astronauts might be able to go and be safe from radiation. Well, that'd be good. They're also a good place to look for evidence of alien life. Yeah, I mean, like what could have fallen into that hole through the aeons of time that, nobody's been hanging out there. I don't know. Or maybe that's where they went. Maybe they're all down there. I've heard, claims of subterranean bases and stuff on Mars. I mean, the face that's on Mars looks a little suspect to me. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know enough to have any real opinion on it, but I think it's interesting. I think that there was probably robust life on Mars at one point, but something happened there. I don't know what happened, but something happened that kind of wiped the slate and left it the lumbering behemoth that it is now. Even though it's a little smaller than Earth, right? Mars is smaller than Earth, I think. But anyway, interesting stuff. Elon Musk is absolutely gung-ho to get there and establish bases and all kind of stuff. But I think he's kind of been on record saying, yeah, it's pretty much a one-way ticket for whoever goes. And it's like, well, yeah. I mean, there's not like the shuttles going back and forth or, you can call it Uber. You're there. That's it. I mean, and what do you do? If things go sideways, it's going all the way sideways. There's no help anywhere. I mean, you could take a picture. Look at this coming to crush us. I mean, what could that be? I don't know. Anyway, I wouldn't want to be one of the first ones there, but some people do. Some people want to be the name that gets left in history for being someone that does that, I guess. Very cool, though. We'll have to keep posted on that. They're not going to send people into that, though. They're going to send some kind of machine, I would imagine. I mean, if they don't, let's send the first crew there. No, that's a quick one-way trip to not ever getting any kind of information. So that's the news, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, she watched the Eris TV tour on TV. Oh, cool. Okay. I'm just trying to look at the chat here. It's always a conundrum when I look and I'm like, what are we talking about? All right. Mars bunnies. Yeah, you never know. There could be Mars bunnies there. But at any rate, Solos, I believe it's on Hulu. Helen Mirren portrayed one person on a one-way ticket. It was really excellent. 20 minutes. Well wasted. All right, Sam. Well, that sounds like fun. I don't know what Solos is about. One-way ticket where? I don't know, but there you go. Where rabbits from Mars attack. Yeah, you never know, Annie. You just don't know. We don't know what's there. I mean, I've seen some of the weird pictures that have come from the reconnaissance, the What the hell do they call those little machines rolling around? I can't remember. It's gone from my head. A stupid name that I should know, and suddenly it's gone. But anyway, there's some real anomalous pictures that have been picked up on Mars. And some weird structures and things, too, that look like, that's not natural. Like, there's one picture that has, like, a square foundation. It's absolutely square, and it's like, well, how'd that happen? It looks like a foundation for a building. Felt like I got tapped on my arm. I don't see anything on the ghost radar, though, so nobody's here, as far as I know. Or they're not revealing. Rover, thank you, SoCal. Jesus, why couldn't I remember Rover? Roof, I don't know, so bad. This memory of mine, I guess it's a sign of the age, or the stress, or all of it. So, very cool, but this has been the news. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you took some value from it and maybe got some new pieces of information you didn't have before. But at any rate, check out unexplained-mysteries.com. You won't be disappointed. There's so much stuff there. But let's get back to the rest of the show. What the hell, Becky? This was the news. Rachel, what the hell's wrong with you? Rachel says, when I hear the news music, I imagine Brent and Don running like Starsky and Hutch to the 1976 Ford Gran Torino. But there's a Paranormal Portal news logo on the side. God, if I had a vehicle and could stage that for you, I would. I mean, that would be worth it. Have Don rolling over the hood and like falling off instead of landing it. Things like that. Me tripping on the way. Like, I don't know. We could do something fun. Carrying like old VHS news recorder cameras or whatever. I don't know. In my head, that was hilarious. A friend of mine's dad was a major player on the Mars rover programs. Bigwig at NASA, JPL. Wow. Well, that's cool. I mean, somebody's got to do it. It ain't me, though. I'll tell you that. They didn't ask me to build nothing. Jerks. Anyway, let's continue. But that is cool. That is cool. All right. Let's see. What do I got next? I got an article next. That's what I got. Just trying to keep my head straight. it's, as you can imagine. That's always a challenge. We're going to roll over to an article that I found that was kind of cool because I got this real hankering to do some more investigating and haven't done any for a minute. And it's something I miss doing. And so I found this article. I'm like, oh, this would be cool. So what we're going to do is we're heading over to ranker.com. This is another amazing site full of, all kinds of amazing lists and articles about pretty much anything you're interested in. So definitely check out ranker.com. There's just a ton of incredibly talented writers over there putting together these ranker lists, and they're pretty incredible. I really do love them. Thought Catalog used to be really good for paranormal stuff, but now I can't even find paranormal stuff on there anymore. It's like they kind of sold the farm on that one. I don't know why. Maybe it wasn't doing the kind of business they're looking for. I don't know. Or maybe they just changed their format. But at any rate, Ranker still pumps out a few of these, and I really enjoy them. My battery is low when it's getting dark. What? That's a quote. What's the quote from? From what? A friend of mine's dad was, oh yeah, I already read that. I don't know. What is this, your child? Is that what the battery on the tablet or something? Yikes. Rover. Oh, Rover. I got you. All right. Sorry. I'm missing things here. Trying to jump into the chat and belong, but I'm just too far out of the loop. All right. Here we go. This is an article from Ranker, and this is, let me pull it up here. Oops. It's not time for that yet. Dang it. There we go. This one is the most haunted houses in America by state. Well, there you go, folks. I thought we'd dive into a few of these because, my God, this haunted houses. And as I said, I'm missing the investigation stuff. I'm trying to move it so it's best framed here. I think that isn't it. That isn't it at all. There we go. We'll do that. All right. The most haunted houses in America by state. This was written by Jody Smith and was last updated September 23rd of 2022. So not too old. And I'm sure there'll be some places we all have heard of many times being in the paranormal circles. The first one up is Alabama. How many of these are we doing? Is there like 50 of them? I guess if they're doing states, because Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming. And for my next trick, I'm going to read this. That was all the states in alphabetical order. I don't know why I remember that, but I can't remember Rover. I mean, really? That's the way my head works. All right. All right, let's get to... I got a trophy. Thanks, Maggie. All right, so in Alabama, the Drish House is the one they're talking about here. Supposedly one of the most haunted places in America, the Drish House in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, was built in 1837 by Dr. John R. Drish. The house's alleged haunting involves lost funeral candles from Dr. Drish's wake, held after he fell on the house's stairs while drunk in 1867. His widow, Sarah, decided to make her husband's funeral an event to remember and informed her family that the candles used for her late husband were to be used for her as well. Wow. Unfortunately, Sarah's bereaved family was unable to uncover the candles in time for her 1884 funeral and may have unlocked over a century of hauntings in the home. Witnesses claim the third-story tower windows show fires blazing in the home, but others believe it's just the glow from Sarah's long-lost candles. The house is now an event venue that hosts weddings and parties, but no funerals. Look at that place. What the hell? It's kind of a bizarre, boxy thing, isn't it? Usually you think of the architecture from the 1800s, and these pillars are really like Roman bathhouse type pillars or whatever, are really cool, but otherwise it's just really a box, isn't it? I don't know, but there you have it. That's the first one. So we had Alabama, Alaska. Yep. I guess we're going alphabetical here. The Augustus Seberg House in Alaska. Augustus Seberg moved from Sweden to Anchorage, Alaska in 1909 and went on to build the house that still bears his name today. After its completion in the early 1920s, Seberg went on to fill the house with a wife and 4 daughters while he worked the railroad. While there are no stories of horrific events plaguing the family, Augustus Seberg's house is still allegedly the most haunted home in Alaska. Visitors claim Seberg himself paces about the upstairs of the home, while his daughters also make frequent appearances to startled guests. His daughter Helen supposedly haunts the home parlor and the primary bedroom. Other occurrences include dismembered voices, people being pushed by unseen forces, and cold spots in the home. There's no pictures, so we don't know what it looks like, but that's it. But we're going to Arizona. The Rawson House. I don't know how many letters we're going to get through tonight. I didn't realize this is 50 of them. And what we can do is if you want to hear a state, just shout it out in chat, and I'll move to that state. But I'll read the first few. So this is the Rawson House in Arizona. Originally built in 1895, the Dr. What is it with doctors' houses getting haunted though? Dr. Roland Rawson and his wife Flora. The Rawson House has a long history of ownership in Phoenix, where it hosts the distinction of being one of the city's oldest homes. It's a large Victorian manor with modern amenities such as electricity. Well, that's good. Running water, a telephone, and other rarities. Oddly enough, however, the alleged hauntings don't start with the original owners. That's a pretty house, though. Here we go. Dr. Rawson allegedly died by his own hand in 1898. But he was in Los Angeles at the time. Flora passed away in 1911. But she wasn't at the Rawson house at that time either. After nearly a century of Phoenix's who's who living in the Rawson house, it became a museum in 1980 to accommodate the city's Heritage Square project. In the early 1980s, a caretaker of the Rawson house was unalived and obviously helped in that, in front of the home, and people allege that his death started the hauntings. People claim they hear his footsteps in the house, and some even believe they saw his full apparition. Employees at the Rawson house feel heat coming from cold fireplaces and report mysteriously locked doors and items being rearranged. Well, he liked it, so obviously he's taken the time to reorganize. All right. Okay. No states yet. I'm in California. Shouldn't be long now. Well, we can just move to California. But if anybody has a state, Paranormal Portal, is there a house you would choose to investigate if you had the opportunity? Any, really. I just think, I just like looking into this stuff. I think it's absolutely fascinating and interesting. And it's truly, when you investigate, it's truly, for me, and I don't pretend that this is the way everybody would feel, but I just find it an incredible thrill to make what would appear to be contact with some disembodied energy, maybe a person, maybe something else, but it is definitely seems to be a contact of some sorts. And the ramifications of that, I think, are incredible, because how powerful would it be to be able to exchange information and to learn from those that are seeing this in a way that we can't possibly understand? I'm doing a hand motion, but you can't see it because of the camera. But I'm guessing these houses have been maintained or renovated. I wonder if they're maintained, if lead paint was used. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so does lead paint create a barrier that prevents a ghost from passing through? I don't know. I'm not one of those people that really buy into the whole barrier thing, other than I think ritualistically you can create a barrier, but that's different. It's using a medium like salt or other objects or crystals or whatever to create a barrier, but it has everything to do with the intent of the person that's setting it up. And so there again, a person's intention is what, energy follows intention. So if a person is meaning for something to be a barrier, I mean, honestly, I really believe if you put a circle of stuffed animals around and you really believe that was going to block out spirits, it probably would, but it's channeling your energy or your belief or your faith in that. And that's what makes it powerful, much like a crucifix just on its own, just as a religious icon is just a symbol. And it's void and empty unless there is a devout believer holding it or wearing it. And then it becomes a powerful talisman. So things in and of themselves, I don't think act as in one way or the other. I think that they're just another construct of our reality. But it's the intention that creates the effect, so to speak. Iron works great. It's believed it does with some things. Usually the Fae are supposedly repelled by iron, according to legends and stuff. Sometimes it comes up in ghost stuff, but more of that I think is more Hollywood stuff. But well, that's what Zach said. Yeah, well, Zach Baggins. Yeah, I mean, and he could be right. I'm saying, and again, if you believe something like that, then you're manifesting that as well into that medium. So maybe it becomes true. Maybe it's a self-realizing prophecy at that point. But I think materials are just materials, and they all have an energy and a vibration. But I don't think they act as a barrier to those that no longer exist in a body. However, if we believe they do, then that power is transferred into it. So Little Faraday cage, maybe, but a Faraday cage has to be grounded to be effective. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of wires. And, it's not hard to build there are like Mylar Faraday bags and things like that that'll block signals. But a true Faraday cage would be grounded and very meticulously set up so that you have continuity between all parts. And I'm not sure if a coat of paint would have the same effect or not. I'm not saying it couldn't. I don't know what the lead content would be either. Like if it's absolutely like, painting a coat of lead on the wall, or if it's just imbued with some lead in the makeup of it. So I don't know. Anyway, those are my off the cuff answers. I can't know. Nobody can know for sure, but those are my takes. So, where were we going? California, weren't we? Here we are. The Whaley House, of course. The Whaley House in California, touting itself as the most haunted house in America. The Whaley House is located in San Diego, California. The land itself served as a thief's execution site before Thomas Whaley purchased it in 1855 for his new home, perhaps cursing it to the ghostly future. The brick building served as a home for Whaley, his wife, and their 3 children, but also as a general store that provided their livelihood. Oh, nice. It's kind of like the Olsons on Little House on the Prairie, right? Soon after moving into their home, their 18-month-old son, Thomas, passed away from scarlet fever, and a fire gutted their general store. The home was also used for the city courthouse headquarters, as well as the first theater troupe for the city. And unfortunately, businesses gradually moved away from the area, and opportunities were not as plentiful. Then in 1871, Mrs. Whaley was attacked by armed men who wanted court records. A few years after that, the Whaley's daughter, Violet, died by self-harm via firearm on August 18th, 1885. The house continued to home Whaley generations who supposedly heard footsteps and strange noises of the criminal executed on the land. Some claim Violet haunts the second floor and keeps it icy cold, while toddler Thomas allegedly giggles throughout the house. The house has not been a residence since 1953 and offers haunted evening tours to curious visitors. Well, there you go. That'd be kind of interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen the picture of it before, but yeah, I mean, it looks like a general store kind of thing. A neat building, but yeah. There you have it. Where are we going next? Anybody? Anybody got a state they want me to cover? West Virginia. 2 of them. West Virginia. Here we go. Let's go to West. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom. All right. W's. Where's the W? Holy macaroni. We're at Pennsylvania. I'm getting there. That's a big... Oh, there it was. West. UVW. West Virginia, the Berkeley Castle. Wow, look at that place. That's beautiful. I'd love to live in a castle. That'd be so neat. All right, Berkeley Castle is not a house that it's a half-scale Norman castle replica. Colonel Samuel Taylor Suit built the house in 1885 after 17-year-old Rosa Pelham only agreed to marry him once he built her a castle. How old was this colonel? Jeez. The 2 married and had 3 children, although they lost their daughter as a teenager. Suit passed before the castle was finished, but Pelham finished it after his death and held glamorous parties there. In 1954, Pelham was in financial ruin, and the castle went to buyer Walter Bird, who refurnished it with antiques. The Berkeley Castle is available as a rental venue for parties and those who wish to see alleged haunting activity. The second-floor office was supposedly where witnesses saw a quill pen levitate, then spin on its own in 1993. And according to another legend, the property only seems to experience a loss of power during wedding ceremonies. Well, that's a little creepy. So that's West Virginia. Mountain Mama, take me home. Yep. Country roads. There you go, West Virginia. So any other states? Let's see what you got. Come on. Give me another state. We'll do, what time is it? We'll do one more, and then I'll just leave this up, and we'll just visit it throughout the coming weeks, I'm sure. Take forever to get through all 50. We'll probably do it in piecemeal. Idaho. Well, there you go, Maggie. And Utah. Let's do Idaho and Utah. Oh, man. UVW. So U is first. Here's Utah. The McCoon Mansion in Utah. Wow, look at that place. That's pretty cool. That's a really neat place. Really beautiful. It says American railroad mining entrepreneur Alfred McCoon built the mansion that still bears his name in 1898, taking nearly 3 years to finish construction. A contemporary of men like William Randolph Hearst and J.P. Morgan, McCoon was involved in politics and deeply entrenched in the LDS Church in Salt Lake City. The McCoon Mansion was even left to the church after the McCoon family moved to L.A. in the 1920s, and after many new iterations and owners, McCoon Mansion was purchased and restored by Philip McCarthy in 1999, is now an event rental business. The young girl whose portrait hangs in the house is supposedly seen dancing and giggling at weddings. Another spirit reported in the mansion is that of a man in a black cape who usually appears in time for Christmas. It's Reaper Claus. Other experiences include slamming doors, hearing music reminiscent of the house's time as a music school, and cold drafts. Wow. There you go. That sounds like a neat place. Utah, I'll be down there in September. We're doing the Vernal, Utah tour, folks. Should be epic. All right, where were we going? Idaho. I bet you it's nothing up here, though. It's probably down the south end of the state. All right, IJK, Indiana, Illinois, and then Idaho, the Stricker Ranch. Wow. This is in Hanson, Idaho. Look at that. Is that the house? Oh, dear God. No wonder it's haunted. All right, let's check it out. Herman Stricker and John Botsett built Stricker Ranch in 1901, but some of the original outbuildings date back to 1865 when it assisted travelers on the Oregon Trail. Wow. Stricker and his wife, Lucy Malgamot, oversaw the ranch where they ran the store and offered rooms to travelers. Sometimes their visitors were very ill from their travels, and Herman and Lucy took care of them until they could leave on their own. Otherwise, they buried them in the nearby cemetery. Oof. Oh, man. Yeah, the Oregon Trail was no joke. Although Stricker passed away in his sleep in 1920, teenagers instead like to tell the tale of Walgamot striking her husband down with an axe. Supposedly, she dragged him down the home stairs, leaving a bloody stain that lingers to this day. Perhaps this story led to the influx of teenagers holding seances in the house after breaking in to see objects levitate for themselves. Oh, that's a whole bucket of bad ideas. Some people believe they've seen Walgamot waking them from slumber to report trespassers on the land, and others report seeing shadows wandering about the tombstones of the old cemetery. The house, Stricker store, and a cemetery are all that remain of the original ranch, and all are owned by the Idaho State Historical Society. Why didn't they get more pictures than this? That's like one picture. Why is it the Utah Film Photography taking Idaho? I don't know where Hanson, Idaho is. It's probably on the south end of the state. We got a request from Deborah for Indiana, so we'll do Indiana. And then Pennsylvania, and then we're going to go on to the cryptids. So, what was it? Indiana, and then Pennsylvania. Indiana. The Whisper Estate. Did my very first ghost investigation last night at the Whispers Estate in Indiana. Thank you for inspiring me to step out of my comfort zone. Yeah, that's true. I mean, investigating can make you step out of your comfort zone. The Whispers Estate was originally built in 1894 and purchased by Dr. John Gibbons and his wife Jessie in 1899. Gibbons used the first floor of his as his physician's office. Another doctor, folks. I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm just saying. Let's see. where was I? And over the years, he and his wife adopted multiple orphan children and brought them into their home. And unfortunately, their lives were marred by tragedies that may have marked the home for ghostly activity. At just 10 years old, their daughter, Rachel, started a fire in the home shortly after her family moved in. And she sustained several burns that led to her death days later. Oh, poor kid. What a horrible way to go. Elizabeth, only 10 months old at the time, passed from unknown ailment in the home's main bedroom. Jesse Gibbons developed pneumonia and later died in the same room. And in the 1960s, the resident of the house died in the upstairs bathroom. Another family's son fell down the staircase and passed away. Oof. Visitors reported seeing Rachel Gibbons still wandering her bedroom and the rest of the house. The main bedroom is plagued with reports of strange sounds, specifically someone struggling to breathe while coughing, possibly pointing to Jesse's bout with pneumonia. On the other occasions, the main bedroom's closet pops itself open multiple times by wiggling its own handle. The third bedroom is said to give horrific nightmares to anyone who sleeps there, and many claim someone tried to break open the bedroom door in the middle of the night. The Whisperers Estate is now a bed and breakfast that embraces its paranormal activity or history. Yeah, boy, that'll be a comfy sleep, I'm sure. Bed and breakfast, folks. Yeah. All right. So we were going where now? I did. Now we're going to Pennsylvania. Let's go to Pennsylvania. Let's see what's going on in Pennsylvania, and then we'll be done with this for the night. LM, and there's Minnesota. MN, New Mexico, New York, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon. Pennsylvania, the Baker Mansion. Well, that's kind of pretty. That's, again, very Romanesque or Greek-looking structure. That's pretty wild. In 1849, Elias Baker, ironmaster and co-owner of the Furnace Works, with his cousin, built a house near his business in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Baker himself, as well as his wife, daughter, and son, are said to haunt the old Baker Mansion that still stands as a museum to this day. Oof. And Anna, Baker's daughter, fell in love with one of their father's ironworkers, but he forbade the marriage due to the young man's social status. Wow. That's just so weird that was actually a thing. I mean, it maybe still is a thing. I don't know. But, it's kind of wild. Enraged with her father, Anna promised she would die a spinster and did so in 1914. Her brother David passed away in the winter of 1852 in a steamboat accident. And as the ground was too frozen for a proper burial, David's body was kept in the basement until the cemetery thawed in the spring. Wow. Another brother, Sylvester, died in the house's parlor from a sudden heart attack. People claim they've seen Anna's spirit attacking a preserved wedding gown enclosed in a display case in her room. Reportedly, the heartbroken spinster hated that dress represented what she never had. Other witnesses believe they heard David's uneasy spirit screaming from the basement or have seen an entity in a steamboat worker's uniform stalking the house. Sylvester allegedly sets off pressure-sensitive alarms in the parlor where he died, and Hetty, Baker's wife, dresses in black and wanders around the third floor, while her husband has reportedly been spotted in the living room. Sounds like a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah, creepy, creepy stuff. Well, there you go. I don't know. Just dark but formless, kinda. Anyone heard of dark, splodgy entities with bright, shining eyes at all? Well, sure. I mean, a lot of shadow people reports are kind of, they're not always in a distinct humanoid shape. They're sometimes more blobby, I guess. So yeah, with distinct glowing eyes, that's pretty frightening stuff, actually. But again, if you're experiencing this, just make it known that you're not okay with that, and that they're not allowed to do that to startle you or anybody. Hey, Justin Good Earth, good to see you, brother. And Dog Digger came in over there as well on the big green rumble machine. All right, so that was the article there. Hope you guys enjoyed that. just a little something, but it's now going to be time for the next part of our journey. What part is that? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's this part. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Cryptid Corner. And that's what we're going to ride all the way through this hour. Or what's left of this hour. Last 50 minutes, I guess. What's it, 10 after? Yeah, it's 10 after. 50 more minutes of creepy creature fun. So, very cool, Brent. Thanks, SoCal. Of course, Maggie. Of course. But yeah, I mean, just always make your intentions known. If you're not okay with something like that showing up, just be like, "It's not okay," and you got to be really adamant about it. Again, I think some of these things really prey on fear, and so they inspire fearful moments. But you just got to be firm. It's like, no, I'm not okay with this. You do not have my permission to do this. You need to stop. You need to leave. You are not welcome here. If you do not leave, then, make it known you will bring in those that will help them leave if they won't leave on their own. And do what you can, but just always be adamant. Use your, faith, things like that, is very powerful in repelling darkness and dark spirits. And just one of the old techniques. And I imagine if, like everything else, if you believe that it could work, it could work. One of the old ways to rid your home of spirits is to stand in the center of every room, take a pinch of salt and cast it towards each of the four corners, all while making statements. You're not welcome here. This is, you're not allowed. And go into every room and cast salt at all the four corners of every room. And that's supposed to create a wall, if you will. A barrier, and force them out. Now, with anything like that, oftentimes in using sage, sweetgrass, cedar combinations or whatever, when you're burning them, or incenses or whatever, frankincense, you should start in one part of the house and then work a circuit, complete circuits, all the way to the end of the house, wherever that is. But it's suggested to leave a window cracked open or a door cracked open or something, because the belief is that you have to let them have an avenue of escape. Now, if you don't, it may knock down the activity for a while, but the belief is that they're still in there, but they're just extraordinarily weakened, and then they will try to re-strengthen, is my understanding of it. So I don't usually give too much advice like that, because I think it's depends on the person. What do you believe in? What do you find powerful? So I don't usually talk too much about cleansing rituals and ways to cast out dark things, because I think it's incumbent upon your belief. Like, our belief in something makes those things powerful. And if you don't believe in something, like, say for me, if I started just saying some kind of Hindu prayer, I mean, it may have some intrinsic power, just based on the fact that there's a lot of people that have a lot of faith in that. And so it may have some effect. But if you're not Hindu, it's not going to be nearly as powerful as you utilizing something that does resonate with your spirituality. And so that's, again, everything in my opinion with spiritual stuff has to do with faith. Your faith is what makes things strong and powerful. It's what makes faith powerful. Is if you really truly believe in it, then it becomes powerful. So invoking the name of Jesus, if you're a Christian, very devout, wholehearted Christian, is going to be an incredibly powerful tool to push negative things back. But if you're atheist and you start yelling for Jesus, it's probably not going to be as effective, because you really don't have a belief in it. So, I was told to crack a window. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems it seems kind of parochial in a sense that, oh, you got to crack a window so they can get out. But it's symbolic, I guess, more than anything. And again, if you believe that you're pushing them towards that opening and casting them through it, then it becomes powerful. Again, it's all about belief and faith. So I don't know, just my take on it. So good to see you, Sherry. Thanks for coming in. Awesome. It's always awesome. So anyway, let's continue. We're going to get into the cryptids now, as I said before. And we're going to start, of course, with the amazing Sasquatch Chronicles. And I hope you guys check out the blog, because there's so much information over there, so many links that Wes keeps active every day. He's posting more information on the blog, and it's an incredible tool to dive into a lot of this stuff, and including lots of other not necessarily Sasquatch related stuff. He does posts on lots of the paranormal, supernatural, unexplained, and sometimes just interesting. So check it out. And he posts a lot of stuff of other shows. In fact, the recent interview I did with George Norrie, he posted that up there, and that was really cool. I really appreciate that. So Wes, if you're out there watching, thanks, brother. It means the world. It helps out a ton. Yeah, Don's okay, Jess. He's actually fine. It's just he's got a family issue going on, and he's giving it all of his attention. So, but Don himself is fine. Anyway, let's go to the Sasquatch Chronicles, Alaskan Bigfoot Encounter. This is from June 18th. Is that today? No, that was yesterday. A listener writes, it was spring of 83. I mentioned that's 1983. And I was 12 years old. My dad and mom decided to return to Alaska from Colorado after living there for a couple of years. And Dad was determined to finally live out his mountain man dream of living in remote Alaska. Man, that is an ambitious dream. Dad heard of an old abandoned lodge on Lake Tyone, which is on the Lake Louise system, not far from the town of Glen Ellen. Lake Louise empties into Lake Susitna, which empties into Lake Tyone, and Tyone empties into the Susitna River. Well, we had a canoe, and Dad wanted to go check it out before contacting the owner about working out some kind of deal to buy or rent. So my dad, younger brother Jim, and Mom's fearless poodle beagle Heinz 57 mutt Bo, and myself hopped into the canoe one morning and took off paddling. Well, it was about 20 miles, and it took forever, but finally we arrived. My God, 20 miles of paddling. Can you imagine? Oh, my God. The lodge was in pretty sad shape. Bowed in the middle from years of neglect, but it was intact and could be livable with some repairs. But there was a very unpleasant smell. Something none of us had smelled before, but we chalked it up to the swampy tundra. Sometimes tundra/swamps have a weird smells for whatever reason. The lake narrows right there, and directly across we could see an abandoned village. The map labeled it as the Tyone Indian Village, but there were just 3 or 4 collapsed ruins of old log cabins. And still, it was interesting, and when Dad finished inspecting the lodge, we paddled across to investigate the ruins. We stretched our legs for a bit, and there wasn't really anything to see except for the old log cabins that were long collapsed, but behind the ruins there was a well-worn game trail that went up a low ridge and disappeared into the trees. Well, Dad told me to take Mom's dog Bo and go see if there were any more cabins or anything up the trail. Man, that's brave. I mean, you're in Alaska. There's so many things that'll eat the hell out of you up there. It's like, here, go take this little yippy dog and go see what's going on. So Bo and I trotted up the trail, and it wound around to the left. The ridge trail was very nice and went about a quarter of a mile before letting down into a swamp. The trail still showed promise, so we continued. The foliage on either side got really thick to the point where I couldn't see more than a couple feet on either side, and the bushes were taller than I was, so all I could see was sorry about that, hairball or something. So all I could see couldn't see more than a couple of feet on either side, and the bushes were taller than I was. So all I could see was the trail under my feet. Suddenly, that smell that we'd encountered at the lodge was overpowering. It was enough to make me wince and wrinkle my nose. It was a musky, oily, funky smell and deeply unpleasant. Well, we were about halfway across the swamp, and the trail was starting to peter out, but it was still decent. Then Bo, who was leading the way in front of me, stopped and froze, looked off to the right into the thick bushes, and began quivering with excitement, sniffing intently. Well, I came to a stop watching him and waiting to see what he'd decide to do. The way he was silently quivering told me he detected something, but he was extremely excited about it. After about 10 seconds, I whispered, "What is it, Bo?" And then Bo launched into the bushes, full charge, and sounding off his pursuit bark. He was fearless in chasing any animal, bear, moose, caribou, squirrels, anything. But his favorite was chasing bears, and I judged from his excitement level that it was probably that. Time for me to go. So, this person left. I tore off back up the trail, running back to Dad in safety, and I could hear Bo's pursuit yelp growing fainter as I ran up the small hill out of the swamp. I knew from his receding barking that he was doing his usual routine of chasing the offending animal away from his kids. So I skidded to a stop and looked across to where Bo was, and I saw it. There was a very large creature sprinting up the hill on the other side, with Bo biting his heels with every step. I had a good reference with Bo right there, and this thing was 9 or 10 feet tall. It was pumping its arms like a human, and the dark brown hair covering its body was 4 inches to 5 inches long. It was massive and very heavily muscled. Unbelievably muscled. It didn't look over at me as it was focused on getting away from this insane dog, fearlessly biting his heels. It was looking down, concentrating on running and foot placement. They were really moving. Bo was very fast, and he was at about his speed limit as they sprinted up diagonally to the right of me. I took all this in, dumbfounded, for probably 5 to 10 seconds, and then I really hit the turbos, sprinting at top speed down the hill back to the lake and my dad. Monsters aren't real. That's what we're told as kids. And I just seen one. Dad saw me coming and raised his rifle to cover me, thinking I was being pursued by a bear. Well, I reached him and was completely out of breath, but still trying to tell him I'd just seen a Bigfoot. He had me sit down and breathe while watching the trail, but of course, nothing was coming down the trail after me. Finally, I blurted out what I'd seen and what happened, and he gave me a smile. He didn't believe me. He said I saw a bear or moose or a caribou. No, I knew what those animals looked like, and none of them ran on 2 legs, fleeing a dog. He reconsidered. He knew that I knew what a bear and moose looked like. So I took him back to up there to prove to him what I saw, because I knew roughly where the Bigfoot had been inside the swamp, roughly triangulated from where Bo departed into the brush and their line of travel when I saw them running up the hill on the other side. I knew there would be tracks in that swamp. Plus, none of us wanted to lose Mom's dog. That was unthinkable. We pushed our way through the brush and where Bo had departed the trail, and found large indentations where something big had walked. Unfortunately, the muck where it had been standing was that black mucky swamp floor that doesn't hold a shape, and it's just black muck. But the smell was overpowering where it had been. We followed the shapeless tracks where it exited the swamp to where I'd first seen it running around the train, went from black muck to firm terrain that had a thick coating of leaves. I was crushed. But the track indentations and the smell combined with the strides told Dad that this was no bear. Whatever had made the tracks was bipedal and was taking 6-foot strides. The leaves were clearly disturbed, but there was no clear footprints as it left as it sprinted up the slope. We called for Bo, but we didn't hear him barking, and I feared the worst. He'd chased countless bears and always returned unscathed because he was so fast and nimble, but this was something else entirely. Usually he'd chase them away until he determined that we were safe and then break off the chase. Sometimes they'd realize they were being pursued by a small dog and wheel around to fight, and he'd disengage when that happened. He was savvy about this game of his. We returned to the canoe at the lake, calling every couple of minutes, and finally, after about 45 minutes, Bo appeared on the trail on his way back to us. He was extremely pleased with himself, like he always was after he chased off a critter to protect us. But he stunk. Really stunk. It was the Bigfoot we'd been smelling faint at the lodge, but very strong in that swamp. And Bo was absolutely putrid, especially his head because he'd been biting it. Clearly the source of that horrible smell was the Bigfoot. We put Bo in the lake and tried to wash the smell off. Water didn't do much to cut the smell, but he was absolutely unbearable to be around. Skunk has nothing on this particular order. So we paddled back to the truck, Mom and the rest of the siblings with Dad downwind, and Bo in the canoe, cussing at how horrible that dog smelled. Bo was feeling pretty unloved and didn't understand why Dad was so pissed at him. The old man was almost gagging. We arrived and told the family what had happened, and Mom took a bottle of Down dish soap and worked Bo over in the lake for about a dozen times, and he still reeked. It was a lot better, but you couldn't stand to be within 10 feet of him. He spent the next days outdoors. Letting him in the camper was not an option. After 4 days or so and countless baths, he was tolerable. Dad sat me down and told me to tell the story of what I'd seen, and I asked him why, and he said he didn't want people to think we were crazy. We ended up living at the lodge for a year and then moved to Talkeetna. The smell lingered around the lodge for a couple of weeks, but then faded away. I suspected it had been curious about the lodge and had been hanging around there prior to us arriving. I've only smelled that smell one other time, very briefly in Talkeetna, about 5 years later, but never saw anything like that again. I spent most of my life wandering the remote Alaska and have seen some remarkable animals from Barrow to Kodiak. Nome to Ketchikan, buzzing around in helicopters and planes as a telecom journeyman constructing and maintaining comm systems for a living. I've been observant and watchful, and I haven't seen another. I can't explain what I saw, and it doesn't make sense that one hasn't been captured or shot. All of us wander around in jet boats, aircraft, snow machines, armed with HD video cameras in our pocket and firearms, but no one has produced a good clear vid or shot of one. It just doesn't make sense. But I saw what I saw, and that's burned into my memory vividly. I'd love to hear someone give me a logical explanation, but there is no large animal that runs away from anything up a hill, pumping his arms like that in North America. Well, or Australia, or China, or, all over parts of Europe and possibly the UK. I mean, yeah, we don't have them there. Scotch was playing with the dog for 45 minutes. Yeah, that's funny. Huh. So what's this say? It was when we were talking about dogs dragging their heinies on the carpet and glands. That's our one, if they can project the smell of the dog. The smell of the dog touched its body. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it could be an oil that's released, like a really putrid oil, and maybe it was running down its legs. Who knows where these glands are? Some people have postulated that they're under the arms in the armpit area or somewhere. If it is indeed a glandular thing, I suspect it is. But I also suspect that it's the females that emit the smell. I don't know that it's a male thing or not. But anyway, I don't know. Could have been a big female. But generally speaking, they don't get as big as the males. I don't think, but I could be wrong. Just see that often in nature, that like with gorillas, the silverbacks are huge. The female gorillas are plenty big too, but the silverbacks are just enormous and muscled and stuff. So Anyway, it's hard to say. Maybe he was just snuggling with a female prior to that. You never know. And he was a little funky. You never know. Just saying. It's possible, but cool story. There's no question. There's a lot of, potential up in Alaska, I think, to bump into these. But I think there's potential pretty much everywhere. They just seem to be anywhere they choose to be and doing just fine in our absence. So, or at least they try to be in our absence. The anal gland. That's kind of my theory on Sasquatch smells, why they might sway back and forth. Yeah, I always thought the swaying was more of them working up into a frenzy, like I'm really pissed. Oh my God, I'm getting pissed. Oh man, I'm getting angrier now. Like hulking out or something. Like they get into this frenzy and then they, do their thing. But maybe you're right. Maybe it's something to do with the glands. Hard to say. Good thing Sasquatch doesn't wear underwear. It looked like a racetrack. Yeah, it looked like a drag strip, not a racetrack. Just burning out. Those big fat tires burning up on the pavement. So anyway, that's a cool story. I like that one. Let's go to the next one from Sasquatch Chronicles. This one's from June 16th. I don't know what I saw. Yeah, that's got to be just mind-numbing. I think for those people that are out there looking, and then to possibly see one, I think is an incredible event. But can you imagine the shock and surprise from someone that is not expecting to see anything, doesn't even believe it's out there, and then boom, there it is. That's gotta be a whole different kind of creepy and a whole different kind of absolute terror and shock. And I imagine it's terror and shock just seeing one. If you are looking, I still believe that would be a horrifying
Sunday.
Sunday? What do you mean Sunday? Something's coming up on Sunday, folks. According to the Ghost Box, maybe I'm going to see a Bigfoot Sunday. I don't think I'm doing anything unless one comes and peeks in my window, but I don't generally see things like that in town. Although there's a resident moose that sometimes shows up in my yard. That's pretty huge animal, I'm here to tell you. Moose are scary big. I was not prepared for how big they are until I was standing in my laundry room looking out, and this first it was the calf, and the calf is about maybe 6 feet tall, and it's down under me. I'm about 3 feet off the ground. My floor is about 3 feet off the ground. You got to take like 3 steps up, and then another mini step. So I'm about 3 feet up, and basically when the calf walked by, it was shorter than me. I'm like, oh, well, it's not so big. But then Mama came behind it, and she's at eye level with me. Now I'm about 5'10", and I'm standing 3 feet up, and her eyes are level with mine as she's walking by my window. I was like, oh my God, that's a big animal. That's a huge animal. So, yeah, there you have it. There you have it. So anyway, let's see what's going on. A listener writes, I had something happen a few weeks back and curious to get your feedback. Not super interested in coming on your show as I can't say for certain what I encountered. May 26th of this year, my wife Nicole and I went on a hike in southern Oregon near Applegate Lake. The hike was to take us past the world's first Bigfoot trap. While I love Sasquatch Chronicles and the idea of Sasquatch, I'm also a person that is skeptical of things until I have my reason not to be. We set off for what was planned to be a 5 or 6 mile hike around 10:30 a.m. The plan was to stop at the Bigfoot trap about 3/4 of a mile in and then continue on a few miles and then come back. We hit the trail and immediately Nicole commented that it felt creepy. While the pine forest was alive with birds and squirrels and the trail had numerous trees across the paths as well as major spider webs as well, it was obvious that the Bigfoot trap was not a major attraction on this lightly used trail. We made it to the Bigfoot trap with no issues, and while it was covered in graffiti, it was still pretty cool to check it out. From there, we started to carry on down the path, which followed a small seasonal creek. As we approached a bend in the trail, we heard a large tree snap coming from the direction we were heading. We stopped in our tracks and looked at each other. While it bothered me, I reassured Nicole that it was just a tree falling. And as we began to move forward, the forest had become noticeably silent. As we approached the far end of the bend, we heard something large moving in a thicket of brush and trees to our right on the other side of the creek across a small ravine. Well, we froze as whatever was in that thicket seemed to be moving closer. Well, as I waited for a deer or maybe a black bear to come bounding out of the trees in the stand of brush, started shaking. And then I say shaking, I don't mean something intentionally grabbing and moving them. It was more of whatever was in the brush was so large it was causing these 4 to 6 saplings to sway. My wife was frozen in fear and wanted to leave immediately. This was so out of character for her, as I often worry that she was too confident and secure in every situation. I myself was mesmerized by the loud cracking of branches and rustling of the brush. The movement lasted maybe 10 to 15 seconds, and then silence. I grabbed a softball-sized rock and stared in the direction of the movement, waiting for something to happen. Then I see something that I can only explain as something that didn't check any of the boxes as something that I could identify. This creature crawled out of the left of the thicket on all fours, towards a patch of blackberry bushes and high grass. It moved fast and very low to the ground with a head that stayed level with its back and did not have a tail. This animal was orangutan colored orange-red with thick hair/fur, 3 to 5 inches long, and it moved like a crocodile missing its tail. Body length was 5 to 6 feet long and approximately 3 feet wide. Once it hit the blackberry thicket, you could see that it stopped, and the overwhelming sense that it was watching us took over. After a brief conversation, we decided to immediately head back to the car. Nicole was near tears as I tried to rationalize what we just encountered. We would move forward about 100 yards at a time, stop and listen for anything at all. And at one point, Nicole said she heard something running behind us, but this could have just been adrenaline. We continued on, and then within 2 minutes span, we had 2 deer run past us away from whatever we encountered. As the second deer ran past, we heard what first could have been a woodpecker's knocking on trees, but it was way too hollow sounding, and the way one seemed to immediately follow the other. It was 3 knocks followed by an immediate 2 coming from our right, and approximately 40 degrees distance between them. The sound really sounded like a tongue click that humans can do, but a lot deeper and louder. We pushed through the rest of the hike back without incident. And as we talked about it, Nicole admitted that she may have blacked out, as she does not recall seeing anything. She just knows she has zero desire to ever do that hike again and wants to believe it was a bear. Wes, I don't know what I saw. I've talked to multiple hunters, and they swear black bears in the area are black or very dark brown. I don't believe it was a cougar, as they would stay silent and invisible at most times. I believe whatever it was had to be a predator and didn't check boxes for a cougar or a black bear. Wow. On 4 legs, no tail, orangutan, orange, long hair, I'd say it was a Sasquatch. I agree, Sharon H. Sounds like a squatchy thing. That spider crawl thing has got to be just wickedly uncomfortable to view. I don't know what that looks like. I mean, I'm imagining it, but God, it's got to be creepy, because these are very big beings, and then to see them so low to the ground, like he described it as like an alligator without the tail. And I don't know what that looks like, but if it's coming at me, I'm going to be hoping that I'm quick enough to not be dealing with that. That sounds horrifying. All right, we got another one from Sasquatch Chronicles, and we're going to dive into phantoms and monsters. Here we go. This is from Sasquatch Chronicles, June 14th. What was that? A listener writes, well, this has been years ago, probably about 30. 2 friends and I were going up to Paducah. That reminds me of an old comedian line. he flew over a town called Paducah, and he goes, "That's the sound your body makes when it hits the ground." To bail one of their husbands out of jail, a long story, but I digress. Well, they were going to take turns driving, and I couldn't drive stick, so I was just along for the ride. At that young age, around 21 or 22, safety wasn't a big concern, so I was loose in the back seat, leaning up between the front seats, and we were all talking and laughing, and we were on what looked like an interstate, as it had 4 lanes, divided by a median, with a high speed limit, but it was late, and we had no GPS at the time, and we ended up going the wrong way towards Virginia or West Virginia, not so much Kentucky. We had a lull in conversation as we went around a curve, and there was this thing standing there on the side of the road, our side facing us. It was really tall, covered in hair, and in a stance that looked like it was peeing. Well, they got to pee too, I'm sure. I couldn't see genitalia or urine, but it had its hands held in a way that looked like how a man stands to pee. Like he's golfing. My mind was looking at it, trying to figure out what I was seeing, what it was seeing, what I was seeing. And it was a delayed reaction, but my friend driving screamed, "What was that?" And I screamed and said, "I don't know, what the hell was that?" And the girl in the front passenger seat didn't even see anything. She was screaming, asking us what was wrong. She waited to get off at the next exit and go back to see what she missed. We said no way, and the weirdest part, aside from the whole thing, is that we never discussed it or brought it up again in the years following. We've lost touch since then, but I didn't mention it to anyone for over 25 years. And someone asked us during a dinner party what the weirdest thing we had ever seen before, and I told them, and they all just looked at me. So that's my story. Pretty anticlimactic. Wow, that is pretty wild. I don't know. Again, a lot of these sightings are just, boom, they're done. Just a moment, boom. Like that. So, what did they see? Probably a Bigfoot. I don't know if it was peeing, though. Maybe they just stand that way. Maybe that's comfortable. Maybe he's just supporting the junk. Maybe he's got too much junk in that trunk. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Strange stuff. But we're going to head over to Phantoms and Monsters now, folks, because I got a couple black-eyed kids stories that I've been holding for a while. Because I was waiting for Don to be here, but in light of the his ongoing absence, I'm going to just read them tonight. Or at least one of them. What time is it? I don't even know what time it is. Good God, it's 8:42. Maybe we'll read both of them. I don't know. Since Don's not here to become really disturbed by this, we're going to read it now. Persistent Black-Eyed Kids, and this is coming from Phantoms and Monsters, ladies and gentlemen, Lon Strickler's site. Very cool site. If you haven't checked it out, this is one of the pillars of the paranormal Fortean communities, and Lon has lots of encounter stories. He's got published works. His books are listed on there, and you can find out where they are and where to get them. And you can find out information about their research, as well as Lon's podcast, Phantoms and Monsters Radio, which is also a channel on YouTube. Watch done pop up on chat. What? Watch done pop up on chat. What does that mean, Chucky? Oh, watch Don. Oh, I gotcha. Well, he might be out there watching. But he had a lot going on, so he couldn't make it tonight. Black-Eyed Beans, you got it, Maggie. This is it, B-E-K. Yes, you can get a B-A-K. And we'll make it a double. Because it sounds like a burger, doesn't it? What was that burger? Oh, there was the McDLT McDonald's had, and I don't know, the Big King or something, the BK, Burger King, obviously. But this is B-E-K, Black-Eyed Kids. It's not fast food. All right, so here we go. Persistent black-eyed kids suddenly emerge during storm. There seems to be a correlation sometimes between them appearing and weather events. I don't know if there's what the correlation is, but that's a creepy thing. God, they're creepy. 2 friends are watching a property for another friend in the West Midlands. Of where? I don't know what the Midlands are. Is that New Jersey? I don't know. One day, a group of black-eyed kids emerged and terrified one of their friends who was alone. The following account was forwarded to me by an associate in the UK. It's the UK then. We're going to the UK. I live in the United Kingdom and grew up near a small village in the West Midlands. Sorry, I'll just read it normal. Just outside of Birmingham. My friend and I were watching over a friend's estate that her boyfriend owned, and it's a quiet area in the middle of the woods. The owners were out for a week too, so we were in charge of maintaining the gardens and caring for the greens, the horses, and 2 cats. My friend worked most of the day, but I enjoyed the solitude and quiet and looked forward to walking out around the woods, maybe looking for some of the old caves in the area. One of the days I was outside starting to put away the geese and make sure the horses were situated for the night, I immediately noticed that the 2 cats, who are normally very docile and temperate, were hissing angrily as I approached. Well, I thought it was odd, and when I went to put the horses away for the night, I saw the 3 of them, a beautiful colt, a mare, and a young foal, were huddled in the back of the stable in a way I've never seen them before, as if they'd been frightened. The sky had been getting suddenly darker with clouds, and I was beginning to feel really freaked out, though I couldn't explain why. Well, I closed the stable door and locked the electric fence surrounding the estate when all of a sudden the heavens opened up and it began to pour. And I felt like it was dire for me to get out of there and ran in a panic inside the guest house. Well, I locked the wooden door and all of a sudden felt a mix of emotions. It was wrong for a grown man like me to get worked up over this, but I felt vulnerable in the small guest house, with a simple wooden door and the smashable windows being the only thing that kept me safe despite there being nothing around for miles. I went to calm my nerves and watch some TV, and the television set right next to the 3 large open windows of the guest house. Well, I tried to avoid looking at them and just watch my show when I heard a sudden knock at the door. Well, I nearly jumped out of my seat in shock. I was certain I had just heard it. My friend wouldn't be off of work for some time, and I didn't see the gate open through the window. And then I heard it again. Another knock, and I knew it was real. Well, at first I wasn't sure if I should answer it out of fear, but in a moment of feeling compassionate to whoever it would be out in the rain, I went to open the door. I went over, opened it, and saw 2 boys, maybe 12 and 14. And they were both wearing matching hoodies and looked almost pale and unhealthy, as if they'd been out there for a very long time. The older of the 2 spoke up. "Excuse me, we've been out here in the rain for a long time and we're very cold and tired. Can we come in, please?" His voice was wrong, though. It was too smooth. Almost a bit too high, and I almost felt obliged to let them in, but I needed to know more and asked, "Where are you from? There's nothing around here for miles." But the older-looking boy just replied, "Can we please come in? We're really cold." I suddenly got a very uneasy feeling, and I realized that the only way in is through the electric fence, which was still closed. And I asked them, "How did you even get in here? The gate wasn't been opened." At that moment, I noticed the woods in the distance behind them. Another boy, one tall, older-looking, emerged. He was wearing the exact same hoodie as the other 2. Must have been on sale. And he called out, "We're really cold and tired. Can we please come in, Conrad?" I was horrified. The way he spoke was wrong. It was just too smooth, and it was higher than it should have been. He knew my name. I knew I had to get out, and I yelled at them to get out or I would call the police, and darted inside, locking the door behind me. I didn't know where to go. I could hear them pounding outside and yelling, "Let us in! Let us in!" And that's when I saw them in the window and realized their eyes were completely black. They seemed to smile as they yelled, and their teeth were also absolutely black. I'd never heard that before. I hid in the bathroom with a kitchen knife, just waiting for them to stop. For the longest time, they wouldn't. I couldn't call my friend. Even if I did, what would I say? And then all of a sudden, they stopped. I waited for some time and left the bathroom. I worked up the courage to open the door again, and they were gone. My friend came home and I told him all about what had happened in a panic, and I could tell that despite him saying he believed me, he didn't entirely. When we were done caring for the house, I spoke to the owners. My friend had asked me if everything went well, and I said yes, but it was obvious that something was wrong. At first, I thought she would assume I had trouble with the animals, but I could tell by the look in her face that she knew exactly what I did. We spoke, and she said that she had thought she had seen them around or heard them knocking recently, but tried to capture them on CCTV. For a while, we didn't really know what to say about it until now, when I heard I should check out this group on the topic and the group on black-eyed children. And incredibly, there are entire groups of other people who have seen the same thing. Yeah, and there's no comment from Lon, but that is creepy. I don't know. I guess the UK's got them too. I don't remember ever hearing stories from the UK before, but why not? I don't think they're really from here. And I don't know how else to say that, but I think they're something of a manifestation, if you will. Yeah, I don't think that they're actually a physical being, but maybe they can assume a physical appearance. I don't know. I don't know. It's speculation, obviously, but yeah, creepy stuff. Let's go to the next one. Another black-eyed kid story. I think we'll have time for this. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. This one's kind of long. This one's a little longer. Maybe I'll save this one for Friday night. We'll read the next one on Friday night because that one's a little longer. This one's a Bigfoot one. This one's pretty short. We can read this one. So we'll save the other black-eyed kid story for Friday just because of length. It would take me about 15 minutes to get through, and we got about 8 left. So, was Bigfoot calling? Campers get bad feeling as distant sounds get closer. Jeez. That's so weird. A group of friends are camping in Frontenac, Minnesota. Dudes. Okay. If some of you have heard my story of growling Bigfoot behind me when I was 14 years old, I've shared it many times. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. That is literally about 8 miles as the crow flies from Frontenac, Minnesota. In that same area. There you have it. Frontenac, Minnesota, when they heard distance calls. I've since heard from other witnesses in the area that have seen Bigfoot. So very, very close to this story. Very, very, very close. Could be the same ones for all I know, or one or whatever. A group of friends are camping in Frontenac, Minnesota when they hear distant calls, and after a while, all the other animal sounds go silent and the unknown calls are close to the campsite. I received the following account. A few years back, my 3 friends and I were camping in Frontenac, Minnesota. We didn't know much about the area. That was just where it was nice, heavily wooded place to camp. One night we were heading into the tent when we heard a strange call in the distance. It was like a mixture of a moan and a yell and seemed to be far off. I instantly got a bad feeling and urged my friends into the tent. As we lay there, the sound of coyotes calling started, and it sounded like a pack of them far off in the distance. I didn't think anything of it, though it had one of my friends spooked. And we all attempted to sleep, the coyotes still howling. What must have been a half hour later, all sound stopped. The coyotes went abruptly silent. The sound of the crickets disappeared, and suddenly that bad feeling was back. I remember lying perfectly still when the eerie call from before started, and I knew something was off about them. They got closer and closer, calling regularly, almost like it was looking for someone. Suddenly, whatever was making the calls was right outside our campsite. You could hear large feet shifting on the gravel path, almost like pacing as it called again, incredibly loud this time. Well, I thought about getting my phone out from under my pillow to record the sound, but something in my gut told me that it would be a bad idea. We were all lying frozen, listening to this thing calling. Eventually, it turned back the way it came, continuing to call until the sound faded completely. The moment it did, the crickets started again, followed by the howls of the coyotes. The next day, I researched every animal call I could think of, and I asked my mom, who's very attuned to wildlife, if she could recognize the call. Even the Frontenac Ranger couldn't think of what would have made that sound. My research eventually revealed that Bigfoot had been sighted in Frontenac, and I instantly wondered if that's what we'd heard. Lon says, I talked to the witness, and he demonstrated what he heard, and it was a very high-pitched wail. That was followed by short yelps, but not canine-like. Honestly, it wasn't anything that I'd ever heard before. There you go. I mean, that's literally in the same area as my experience. That's wild. Wow. It's Frontenac State Park is right along the Mississippi, which is where, that's the butts right into the state preserve behind my house, where I grew up. So they're out there. I have no question about that, but that's wild. Huh. That's crazy. I didn't expect that. I just pulled up the story because it was, a Bigfoot story. And then it's right from home. Yeah, I know exactly where they're camping too. There's a campground right on the river, but it's right in the state forest. So in Frontenac State Park. So it's largely agricultural around there, but there's lots of woodland. There's really huge swaths of woodland in there as well. Lots of hills and valleys full of forest, with the interspersed cornfields and soybean fields and stuff around there. But yeah, that's pretty intense. Huh. Ohio howl for me was just the burrito yell. Yeah, exactly. Very cool. So that one kind of hits close to home. I'm glad we covered that. Interesting. Again, I talked to a sign person. My brother Jeff had introduced me to a guy that owns a sign company in the town near there, Red Wing. And he and his wife have both seen Bigfoot when they were doing a sign job at a golf course, which used to be a ski resort where I was downhill skiing all the time as a kid, as a teenager. So that's really pretty wild. But they'd both seen Bigfoot on two separate occasions, wandering around in that area as they were doing these signs for the golf course. So it's pretty crazy stuff. Wow. Very, very wild. No, Chucky's a Canuck. He's from Canada. They're here or interdimensional. Well, they might be, but they definitely spend quite a bit of time here if they're able to do both. Anyway, very cool. Go crazy. I'm really kind of blown away that we found that story. But you know what else blows me away? The fact that we just completed another episode of the Paranormal Portal. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, thank you so much for being here. Sheldon should be joining me. Removes trees, kinda. FLIR? I don't know that it removes trees. You can sometimes see heat plumes from behind trees, but I have a little FLIR. It definitely shows obstacles, but you can, if something has touched. I mean, the cool thing is with a FLIR, like the one I have is a small one that attaches to a tablet, so it's only got about a 30-foot range or whatever. I use it for, ghost stuff, not for scanning the woods. But, if you touch a wall, just for a few seconds and take your hand off, that handprint will be there for quite a while, as this heat plume. And it's really pretty spectacular. Aw, thank you, Maggie. But you can sometimes, if there's enough of a heat mass behind a cold tree, you can sometimes see a bit of that on both sides of the obstacle. But yeah, trees definitely show up on FLIR and will block heat signals. Like if something small and hot is behind a tree, you won't see it. But yeah, the thing with Sasquatch is they're tree peekers. They're like, they lean out all the time. So I think they get caught on FLIR quite a bit. So that's cool, though. That's really neat. Right from near where I was growled at. And again, I ran around with that for decades, not sure what to do with it until I started learning about Sasquatch. And then, even more recently in the last several years, hearing some other reports from people in the area. When I was back home visiting, I went and talked to those guys, and they told me the stories. Pretty cool stuff. They're there. They're there, folks. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. All right, well, that's going to do it for the night. I hope you guys enjoyed the journey through the portal. We all made it back safely. That's the key. And nobody lost any limbs or anything. Everybody's got all their hands and fingers and legs and feet. So I'd say that's a win. But at any rate, I will be back Friday. Sheldon should be here with me, and we'll dive once again into the Paranormal Portal. One other piece of information. I did finish the video podcast of the interview with George Norrie. Of course, of Coast to Coast AM and the Gaia TV network and Ancient Aliens. That George Norrie, I interviewed him last week, and we had a great discussion. He's a really, really wonderful guy. It was really fantastic. So if you haven't checked out either the audio podcast on all the podcast platforms or the video podcast that I just posted today, I still got to get it up on Rumble. I forgot about that. I got sidetracked. But I will put it up on Rumble today, or tonight. Yes, good, Jaron. Yeah, it was a good episode. It was a lot of fun to talk to George. Really, really pretty wild. I'll tell you this, George has interviewed thousands of people. I mean, he's just been at this forever, and he's a genuine, nice, wonderful guy. He really was very engaging and pleasant to talk to. I really enjoyed it, but I got to tell you, I was very sincerely intimidated because here I was interviewing George Norrie. Now, I'm not a real big respecter of people just because they're people or they have notoriety, but someone that's interviewed a lot of people, you don't want to screw that up. And I think it went really well. We had a really good discussion and just a wonderful guy. So I hope you guys check it out if you haven't already, and please leave comments, like it, and share it, please. I'd like for more people to check out these shows, both the streams as well as the podcasts, as well as the video podcasts. So any of the stuff I post, please feel free to share it out there. That would be wonderful, and it would help me out a bunch because I do want the show to grow. So Grandizer 12, hi sir, just finished up on the Fade to Black radio. Oh, well, we're just about wrapping it up here, but it's great to see you. Thank you for coming in. You're welcome to watch the replay. All of it's, of course, here on YouTube. You can check it out at your convenience, but it's nice to meet you. I'll share it, Brent, for sure. Thank you, Jaron. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was great to talk to George. George Norrie is genuinely a very cool guy and a very down-to-earth, very warm and engaging person. There was no ego. There was no, I don't really have time for this. I mean, he made this happen, and that was really pretty spectacular. So if you get a chance, check that out. Video podcast episode just released today. The audio podcast is also on YouTube, as well as all the podcasting platforms. So if you got a phone, hit the podcast button, look for Paranormal Portal. You can listen to it at your leisure or on your computer or wherever, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, any of the platforms. So, but anyway, it's great to see you guys as always. I'll be back Friday, as I mentioned, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do these live streams every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. 7 p.m. always is the start time in Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. So please come and join us. Put the word out there. Let other people know that like the paranormal. And that's all we got time for. So at any rate, I will, I guess, see you guys next time. Until then, remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of everybody. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. So I'm going to do the credits, and I'll see you Friday. So feel free, if any of you got experiences that want to be on the podcast as an interview, I'd love to hear from you. Just reach out to me. Go to paranormalportal.net. It's probably the best place, paranormalportal.net. And there's a button on there that says, if you got experiences, click the button. It says interview me, and it'll launch my calendar app, and you can pick a date, time that works for you. And I will connect with you on Zoom, and we'll record it. But at any rate, that's the show, guys. Take care, and until next time, we'll see you.